Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again in this YouTube astrological segment. I'm going to be talking about Pluto in Gemini in a natal chart. Now, some of you may remember when I first started my YouTube astrology channel, I did a series on the Pluto placements in a natal chart. They're a little bit concise. Some people may have referred to them as snappy. So what I decided to do was make another series on them in which the videos would be a little bit longer and more descriptive. So anyway. Well, Pluto in Gemini, Pluto is connected with our passion and desire. And having Pluto in Gemini, there may be a lot of passion for, it could be communications, assimilating information, disseminating information that's given to us, being able to articulate it well, express it very eloquently, and just to be talkative. Really, Gemini can be loquacious. This can give more power. In terms of sometimes the people of this placement may be conversation dominators. Now, there may not be anybody alive right now that has this placement. Some of you had ancestors, I'm sure, that had this, and also this is more. A lot of this is being futuristic to see how this may manifest with others, well into the future. And because we're not going to be alive anyway when Pluto actually transits Gemini again. But anyway, and also having passion and desire could be in Gemini fields, communication fields, which can include reporting, journalism, writing, data or satellite communications, doing something with manual dexterity, such as being working as an auto or refrigeration mechanic. I'm sure by the time Pluto enters Gemini, things are going to be very different, though. As far as cars go, there might be a major transformation in our local transportation. I wouldn't be surprised if we'll have things that traveling may be on some very super accelerated level as far as short journeys and local transportation goes. And also too, Pluto in astrology is associated with power and control. So there may be more of a desire to simply have power and control in our day-to-day communications. People may feel they gain more power by gathering information. It could be getting, the secrets out of other people, and sometimes, unfortunately, trying to use them against others. And they may try to gain more power in some instances through, could be gossip or slander. And also matters with manual dexterity, being able to, do work with one's hands. There may be more of an emphasis on this at this time, more so than others. Now, the thing is, if you have Pluto in your third house in your natal chart, this can apply to some degree, but of course, though generational, you still got to blend the sign in with it. Now, it's also gaining power control just by, it could be simply out maneuvering and outsmarting others, using, being cunning, being shrewd, using street sense, and just being able to be adaptable as well in situations. It could even be simply at somebody's, place, their profession, their career, business, or what have you. Showing adaptability this time may get you someone to a higher level or standing at the company that the person is in. As an example, now Pluto in astrology is also associated with our intimate relationships. So Pluto in Gemini, you know, those intimate relationships, some cases may be with Gemini, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant people, or those that may embody the characteristics of the sign. It could be people that are very intellectual, cerebral, loquacious, versatile, dexterous, those that enjoy assimilating and disseminating information, people that are articulate and eloquent, as some examples. And it could be those that are in a Gemini profession, which could be, again, a communications field, which can include reporting, writing, journalism. Um, it could be, doing some, telephone repair work, and it might be working as a mail courier or doing something with data or satellite communications, manual dexterity again, which can be, some examples are auto, refrigeration mechanics. Now, another thing too about Pluto in astrology is that it's associated with transformation. So, at this time there may be some major change or transformation in just how people can speak. It may be, maybe there'll be some way it'll be through more of an electronic means or device implanted with the people. As an example, where we're not, people aren't really speaking like the way we speak right now. I could see this being very different at this point in time, and assuming that the world is even around at this point. Now, also matters, with cars and vehicles, there may be completely, different, ways of getting around, or the cars and vehicles may look completely different than how we're accustomed to seeing them at this time, because it could be a strong transformation in this. And also just the matters with local transportation in general, and it could be some speech transformation as well. Like I was talking about before, the way we could, communicate with others in terms of how we do it right now, just by simply, opening our mouths and talking. Maybe there's some other, more innovative way that takes place at that point in time when Pluto is in Gemini. So, um, another thing too, it's also, Pluto in astrology is also associated, with rebirth and regeneration. So Pluto in Gemini, this is a time for people where there may be more of a rebirth. It could be in their communications in general, whether it's, talking to somebody, from long ago that they had lost ties with it. It could be maybe in some older ways of communicating as well. There may be a resurgence in that to some degree, but it's also about, being, very, more animated, vivacious, and spirited in these matters in terms of reviving something. Could be resurrecting a business that one had, as an example, and really just maybe just a general revival of being more street savvy. Because right now, I mean, Pluto's going to enter Aquarius, and again in 2024, and it's like it can give more power, in the internet and social media. And I think, we may have lose our street sense to some degree, and this might be a revival of it when you have this transit take place in Gemini again. Now, Pluto in astrology is also connected with death and endings, figurative deaths, things that are obliterated and destroyed. So Pluto in Gemini, maybe more endings, maybe in twos. Unfortunately, Gemini is the sign of the twins, duplications. There may be, something, with the way cars, how we're accustomed to seeing them, comes to an end at this time. Trains, there may actually be more deaths that are attributed to vehicle accidents at this time, more so than usual. More deaths in times of short journeys and taking trips to places, that are local, through local transportation. Now, Pluto is also connected with support, whether it would be emotional, monetary, or moral support. Now, Pluto in Gemini, people may be very spirited, vivacious, and animated when they're giving this kind of support, and they give it very vivaciously. There may be more support at this time given to siblings, cousins, and neighbors, and getting it from them as well, on average more so than in most cases. It's about support through communication, helping people communicate, articulate things more, disseminate information, assimilating information. It could be things with, manual dexterity again, which could be, connected with, doing something, with auto, refrigeration mechanics as some examples. And Pluto is also associated with surgery and trauma. So Pluto in Gemini may have more susceptibility to some kind of trauma or injury or surgery associated with the hands, the arms, the lungs, the nerves. Um, It could be having, something like, broken hand or a sprained arm, maybe, carpal tunnel syndrome as some examples. I have my moon in Gemini in my natal chart, and it's in my first house of the physical body, and I've had, extensive nerve damage, and, I have a lot of it in my arms and hands. I also have Uranus almost exactly conjunct my sixth house cusp, which certainly doesn't help matters. And as far as Pluto goes, it's also connected with crime and corruption. So there may be, an escalation of Gemini like related crimes at this time, which can include theft, forgery, plagiarism, as some examples. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Learnard saying, stay well.